There is a real price for the AI tools your office now runs on. You are not allowed to see it. Go to the pricing page of almost any serious AI product, type in a company name, and the page gives back no number. It gives back a button. It says, Contact Sales. No one forgot to fill that price in. The blank space is the strategy. A price that can't be seen is a price that can't be compared. And a price that can't be compared is a price the seller can set to whatever the moment allows. The story everyone was sold is that the cost of AI is a number a business can shop, look around, pick the best deal, switch vendors if it climbs too high, the way anyone chooses a phone plan. But that number was never built to sit still long enough to be read. The fog isn't a side effect of complicated pricing. The fog is the product. Over the next few minutes, the receipts will show exactly who built it and what it is about to cost the companies and the workers paying for it. Chapter 1. The quote curtain. Start with the most widely deployed AI tool in corporate America, ChatGPT Enterprise, the version companies buy for their staff. Go looking for the price. There isn't one. Not a high price, not a hidden price. None at all. OpenAI publishes no per-seat figure anywhere, and a seat simply means one employee's login. Instead, a buyer contacts sales and a number gets assembled on the spot out of how many seats are wanted, how long the company will commit, and how heavily it expects to use the tool. That much is confirmed by enterprise pricing breakdowns from 2026, not rumor. In practice, that built-to-order number lands between $45 and $75 per employee per month, with a rough 150-seat minimum and a year-long lock-in. The arithmetic is easy to run. $60 a seat times a 150-seat minimum times 12 months comes to about $108,000 a year for software that carries no listed price at all. Picture the buyer, a 200-person company where the head of operations has been told to roll out AI. She opens the page expecting a number she can drop into a budget and finds a form where the price should be. By the time anyone quotes her a figure, she is on a call with a salesperson who already knows her company's revenue, its headcount, and how late she is to move. And OpenAI is not alone. Google Workspace's AI tier routes buyers to contact sales. So does Ada, one of the larger customer service AI vendors. Across the enterprise AI market in 2026, the published prices that do exist scatter from $3 a seat to north of $100, and the most expensive products are reliably the ones that print nothing at all. The pattern is too clean to be an accident. The more a tool costs, the less the seller will say. Picture a showroom where every item has a tag, and every tag reads the same way. Ask an associate. The associate, when asked, doesn't read out a price. They take in the company, the logo, the head count, and then they name a number. That isn't a store. It's an appraisal. Call it the quote curtain. The price exists, kept on the far side of a sales call, and it was left off the page for one reason. It was never meant to be the same twice. Chapter 2. The mirror price. Here is what the curtain hides. The same product is sold to different buyers at wildly different numbers. ChatGPT Enterprise costs a qualifying nonprofit roughly $15 a seat because OpenAI hands those organizations up to 75% off. Everyone else pays the $45 to $75. Same software, same servers, same model, 3 to 5 times the price, decided by who is asking. $15 a seat against a 6-figure contract. The only variable that moved was the name on the account. This is the part the comparison tables can never show. Enterprise AI vendors keep prices off the page on purpose because custom pricing lets them charge each company a different amount based on its size, on how badly it needs the tool, and on how little leverage it has to walk away. That is not a leaked memo. It is the openly stated logic of the 2026 market. So the figure on the invoice doesn't measure what the product costs to build. It measures how trapped the buyer is. The harder it would be to leave, the higher the number climbs. The price is a mirror. It reflects the customer, not the cost. The mirror price. Seen that way? The contact sales button stops looking like customer service and starts looking like the opening move in a negotiation the buyer never knew had begun. The company isn't being quoted, it is being sized up. And the first number on the table is the friendliest one it will ever hear. Chapter 3. The welcome rate. Because the second number is already on the calendar, and it is worse. The industry analyst Josh Bersin laid the pattern out plainly in 2026. A great many of these vendors lock in a favorable rate for year one, then raise it sharply at renewal. The cheap year is the bait. The renewal is the trap. None of this is guesswork, because the largest software vendor on earth has put a date on it. Microsoft is raising the price of its core business plans on July 1st, 2026. Office 365 E3, one of the most common bundles in the working world, climbs from $23 to $26 per user per month, a 13% jump. The larger E5 bundle moves from $38 to $41. Microsoft 365 E3 goes from $36 to $39, and Microsoft 365 E5 from $57 to $60. The stripped-down plan without Teams rises the hardest, from $14.45 to $17.45, a 14% increase. Across the lineup, the hikes run from 5% to 14%. 5% doesn't sound like a trap, but run it across a company. On a 500-seat E3 plan, that 13% bump works out to roughly $18,000 a year for software those 500 people were already using the day before at the old price, with not one new feature added. The number simply moved, and signing early is no escape. Microsoft's own terms state that existing customers roll onto the new price at their next renewal with 30 days notice, not a choice, a countdown. That published increase, in any case, is only the part the vendor is willing to show. One enterprise buyer analysis from 2026 put it exactly. The list price change is the smallest part of the total renewal hit, once support and AI usage are added on top. The 13% is the hand the audience is meant to watch. The real money moves in the other one. That first-year discount has a name. The welcome rate. The contract was never signed at a price. It was signed at the first price. And the part of the bill made visible was never the part that mattered. Chapter 4. The silent meter. Because the part that matters carries no fixed number at all. In 2026, Anthropic, the company behind Claude, changed how it bills its business customers. It moved them off a flat monthly fee and onto a charge based on how much AI they actually consume. Across the industry, the same shift is underway. The per-seat fee holds steady around $30 to $60, while a second, usage-based charge rides underneath it and climbs every time the software does more work. Usage-based is a phone bill with no plan, where the month cost only becomes clear once the month is already over. Microsoft's own Copilot add-on runs $30 a seat, but that is merely the door fee. What happens inside every time an employee asks the AI to do something heavier runs on a meter no one can watch while it spins, and heavier is the whole game. 2 years ago, a question to an AI returned a few sentences. Today, the same request quietly fans out into dozens of steps. Reading the files, drafting, checking its own work, redoing it. The same employee doing the same job cost the meter far more this year than last, and nothing told the meter to slow down. The fee on the invoice can be read. The work beneath it is counted in a unit no customer ever sees. This is why a chief information officer, the person whose entire job is to forecast this spending, told Bersin's team in 2026 that the only thing he could plan for was to be surprised. In his words, "I am preparing myself to be surprised." That is the person in charge of the budget. Surprised is the strategy working. Call it the silent meter. A flat fee can be budgeted. A meter that can only be read in hindsight can only be paid, which raises one obvious question. Why is every AI company all at once so determined to move the real number out of sight? Follow the money and a clock appears. Chapter 5. The profit clock. This is the engine under all of it. For years, these companies sold AI below cost and absorbed the losses because losing money was fine as long as the story was growth. That era is closing. In the first quarter of 2026, OpenAI took in $5.7 billion and ran an operating margin of negative 122%. For every dollar it collected, it spent about $2.22. It lost $1.22 on the dollar, and that figure is real. That is the business. The safety net under those losses is being folded up too. OpenAI's gross margin, the cents left from each dollar after the raw cost of running the AI, fell from roughly 40% in 2024 to about 33% in 2025. The cost of the machines is staggering. OpenAI's compute bill alone is projected near $14.1 billion for 2026, and the four largest cloud companies poured something like $370 to $410 billion into AI infrastructure in 2025, on the way to $650 billion this year. Sit with that last figure, $650 billion in a single year on data centers and chips. That is more than the entire annual economy of most countries on the map. Money on that scale is not spent on a hope. It is spent on a plan to get it back, and there is only one place it can come back from: the line on the invoice. There is also a timer. On June 8, 2026, OpenAI confidentially filed an S-1, the paperwork a company submits to begin selling shares to the public, with an offering expected around early 2027. Anthropic is on the same road. And the moment a company goes public, the rules flip. Bearson spelled out the consequence. Firms heading for the stock market are under pressure to show positive margins, so they raise prices. A private company can lose money forever on a promise. A public company is handed a clock. This one has a name, too. The profit clock. The fog was never built to help a customer save. It was built so that when the clock runs out, the price can move, and there will be no before and after to hold it against. No buyer can prove they were charged more for the same thing if they were never shown the price of the same thing in the first place. Chapter 6. The normal defense. Now the fair objection. Contact sales is not new. Oracle did it, Salesforce did it, and big business software has hidden its prices for decades. So why is this a scandal and not a Tuesday? Concede it fully, the curtain itself is old. What's new is what now stands behind it. Two things that were not there before: a meter that bills by use, and a clock counting down to a public market that demands those bills go up. The old curtain hid a price. This one hides a price that is built to rise on a schedule the buyer does not control. The optimist has a comeback too. Compute keeps getting cheaper, so prices in tech always fall. Except that experiment already ran. The cost of a single AI query dropped for 2 straight years, and across the same window, OpenAI's gross margin still fell from 40% to 33%. The product got cheaper to make and more expensive to leave. The savings were real, they simply never reached the customer. The reckoning. A curtain only has to work for as long as you are standing in front of it. So step back from it. This was never really about Microsoft or OpenAI or one line on one pricing page. It is about the spreadsheet your own work now depends on. The one carrying a cost you cannot predict 3 months out, for a tool you can no longer do your job without. You were told AI would make your work cheaper. You were quoted a number once on your friendliest day by a company that already knew it would change. You were never shown the real one, and that was always the point. You cannot refuse a number nobody will let you see. By the time it finally prints, your name is already at the top of the invoice. Here is the trick, stated plainly. The secret was never how much AI costs. The secret is that there is no fixed price at all. There is only a number, kept behind a curtain, waiting for the day you have the least room left to say no. You were never shopping a market. You were being measured for the bill. The price was the easy thing to hide. The harder question is what they already know about you when they said it. Find out in The AI at Your Job is Watching You Back. Or watch this one first.